Hey everybody, Jesse here again, and I've got a couple of awesome new microphones that I wanted to test out today, sent over from CAD Microphones, C-A-D. They sent me 3 of them, which to various extents all sounded like really good microphones. These videos are specific to will this microphone be good for podcasting or not, so bear that in mind. And I also I didn't test them out before I started shooting. I basically plug them in, make sure the views look right, on the headphones went, and I'd hit the camera. So you're just getting my initial reactions, run through the same setup that I've been using for all these other videos, which is also why I'm shooting this as an intro, is so that you have a control. These videos are all about hearing the difference in microphones. So you're hearing me, the same mic I've been using for the last couple videos, the Broadcaster, through the Rodecaster Pro, and right into the Panasonic GH5 that I'm shooting this on. So all 3 of these microphones coming up are going to go through the same setup. No real profile changes or anything like that. I just want you to hear the difference in the microphones. So hopefully it helps you out. Maybe it's slightly entertaining. And either way, here we go. So this very first one I've got here is the GXL 2200. That name would be impossible for me to remember outside of looking at the box, which is why I was just doing that. This is a nice little microphone. I haven't actually used one up until I hit record on the camera and sat down and started doing this video. I basically looked at my levels so that I would not be tempted to actually listen to it first. Because I wanted to give you guys this isn't quite an unboxing video, but it is me giving real first takes on my very first time hearing this microphone. So a little bit of context real quick. I'm running this into the Rodecaster Pro, and I did actually pull up the microphone profile on here for the condenser, which is what it is. And then I went over to voice and put the tone to medium, because I'm kind of a medium tone guy. And then I put voice strength to strong. Now, I don't necessarily know if I have a strong voice in the way that they mean it, but that's how I usually have it set up for other microphones. So those are my settings. I'm running it into that mixer, channel 1, which is not even quite halfway up the fader. So it's a really hot microphone. And yeah, what I should be doing is I should have a pop shield here. But I'm testing this mic and the other microphones that I got from them all in the way that they come out of the box. So if you buy one of these, it comes with this shock mount here, which is actually pretty cool. And I'm going to show you this after muting it so you can see what I mean. But this is the first shock mount I've ever used where you don't actually have to attach the microphone to it. There's not a nut at the bottom where you have to screw it on there. No clips or anything like that. You attach the shock mount to the stand. Then I'm going to kill this mic for a second so you don't hear all the noise, but you're going to see you can just pull the microphone right out. So it's got this cool kind of a felt lining in there to make sure it's soft, and it expands a little bit as you push the microphone in, keeps it there nice and safe and shock free. And yeah, so I like the design of it. I overall like the sound from what I can hear. It doesn't necessarily sound like it's great on the higher end, if I had to be honest. Now, I don't have the world's most discerning ear. I'm not a true audiophile, all things said and done, but I know how my voice sounds. And all I can do on these microphone tests is compare them with the one thing that I'm familiar with at all times, which is me. So overall, with a pop shield on this, this would be a decent, good sounding microphone to record audio with. My first choice in podcasting isn't always condensers like this because of the need for a pop shield or, because sometimes you might have to change the settings or they could pick up a little bit of extra room noise. But for these videos, it's just me in here. So there's nothing else to really worry about sound wise. So yeah, I like how this one sounds, and I'm going to try another one now. All right. I now have another microphone from CAD, CAD. This is called the M179. And once again, cool looking little microphone. Came with its own shock mount, which not all these microphones do. So let's take a minute to appreciate the fact that they are just giving that away with their microphones. One thing that they don't give away is another pop shield for this one, which is fine. You can usually add those, but already compared to the other one, I'm liking the overall tone of this one. And this one has a couple of basic but effective switches on it as well. So you can select the pickup pattern, cardioid, hypercardioid, omni, figure eight, all that stuff. I'm not going to bother with that because with one voice in the room, it's not going to make a huge difference. One of the other switches is a 20 dB pad, which is just going to make it quieter and then louder. Not going to mess with that. But there is also another one, a tone switch on here that I find rather interesting. Because right now I can hear what I consider to be the full range of my voice. And on this setting, it sounds deeper. Now I haven't even looked at the specs yet. I don't even know what that switch is supposed to do. But it still sounds fairly true to my actual voice while sounding a little bit beefier as well. So something like with, say, the Aston Stealth mic, where you have, two different settings for voices and then one for guitar and all that. That might be something similar with this one. But it's subtle, but I like it. You know what I mean? We're going to go back again. So now it's set to the way that it should have sounded when I started this part of the video, and no complaints. It's all good. But when you just move this one switch, it's suddenly deeper. And, in a podcast setting, and sometimes I got to remind myself that the focus of these videos is testing microphones for podcasts. I would tend to probably use it on this setting, the slightly deeper voice setting. My own natural speaking voice is fine. Unlike many people out there, I'm used to hearing it, so not a big deal anymore. But I like the idea of having just that slight little bit extra of the kind of the bottom end, without compromising any of the clarity or the high end. I can still hear the highs and mids on this microphone really well. But yeah, that's a cool feature. And, I believe of the two microphones I've shown by CAD so far, I believe this is the less expensive one. I will correct myself in the video if that's wrong. And I'll have, links down below for if you want to check out the specs for yourself or anything. All of these microphones, I'm just plugging in and listening and recording my thoughts as I hear them. So if I'm not going, crazy on the spectrum of what these things are capable of or giving you all these facts about them, it's not the point of these videos. I just want you to hear what these mics can do. So with that in mind, I'm now going to swap this one out for the CAD mic that they sent, number 3. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm not really looking at the camera, but the mic that they gave me to try in this case doesn't really work with the desk arm I have to turn sideways. So I'm kind of trying to speak directly into the mic, but I'm also going to go around it. So this is the E100S, also by CAD. And this is a large diaphragm condenser that is actually really pretty high end. This isn't the type of thing I would normally recommend for a podcast. In fact, I probably wouldn't recommend it at all for a podcast, only because it's going to pick you up pretty well at almost any point around the microphone. So, if I'm talking down here, my voice is actually going straight underneath the microphone, and it was still picking it up pretty well. If I speak across the microphone like this, it's picking it up pretty well. Over it, to the side, I'm on axis with the side of the microphone, and it's picking it all up okay. So that tells me a couple things. Number one, this is an awesome microphone for certain applications. Number two, one of those is not podcasting. But let's go ahead and just play around with it a little bit more. So it's got the obvious 10 dB pad, which is just going to change the overall volume mostly. And it also has a high pass filter. So this is on setting 1. This is on setting 2. Now, if I'm totally honest, I don't always hear the difference between things like a low pass filter being on or off or something like that. I usually leave the audio engineering for higher end audio to people with more discerning ears than myself. But having all these options in a hardware configuration on your microphone never hurts, because it's clean, it's simple, it's right there in front of you. I love how the XLR input does not come out of the bottom of the microphone here. They mounted it to the back so that it's nice and tight and clean. You know, if I was maybe doing a one-on-one show like this more often, I'd probably find a way to mount it differently, obviously, but this would be a microphone I would like to use if I knew it was only going to be me for a good amount of time, because at different points on this microphone, you know, if you want to get a different sound across, you can intentionally position your body in a certain way. But when you're just, you know, talking right into the sweet spot, which for this one, if I'm honest and I'm just listening to my voice as I talk, is pretty much right about here, about 6 inches and at a slight angle from on axis. I don't think the side to side is as important as the up to down on that one. So right about here sounds like about the sweet spot, and just the quality that I'm hearing in this spot, I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah, this is a great microphone. So, these are a couple of great different offerings from CAD Microphones. The E100S, if you're recording vocals or maybe a guitar amp, or if you're doing, you know, a monologue kind of thing, this would be a fantastic microphone to use. Podcasting, probably not going to be the one you want to go with. Of the two they sent, one more thing about this. Microphone companies don't do this kind of thing enough, but, you know, they frequently will include a shock mount or something. These guys ship this microphone in its own little box too. I mean, that's a classy touch. I've received plenty of microphones. I've sold plenty of microphones. I've used plenty. That's the first time I have seen one come in a box this nice, just for no extra cost. And so shout out to CAD for that. Anyway, of these 3 microphones, I'm saying that if I was going to use one for my own show, I would probably go with the M179. And I'm putting together a couple kit ideas for things that could help you start off podcasting, you know, including like the Rodecaster, some other mixer options, headphones, whatever. I think the M179 is going to end up in one of those kits because I really like what I heard. I'd already been checking it out. I like the price point they're offering it at. And I think that's going to be good. The GXL 2200, I like it. It wasn't my favorite of the 3, because we're all being honest here. It's probably not a microphone that I would use for podcasting. I would probably consider one like that for maybe something like overhead drum recording, or even a guitar amp or a bass amp. It just seems to kind of get the low end a little bit figured out better than the highs and all that. But all 3 of these microphones tell me that CAD microphones are the real deal. So in my next video, I'm probably going to start comparing these to, you know, some Rhodes and Sennheisers, and, Shure. We're going to see how they stack up to other ones. But I just wanted to see how they stacked up against themselves, because I've never heard them before. So hopefully, if you're looking at one of these mics or just kind of wanting to hear a few new microphones, hopefully this was informative for you. And I'm going to stop this video now so I can stop speaking kind of cockeyed to the right. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.